Hello and welcome everybody to week 3 of the SPL. My name is LHS and I'm going to be your host for today. Joining me on the desk is Tom F. Battinger. How you doing today, F.
Who are you?
I am LHS. I just said that. Are you paying attention?
In the building? Does anybody know? Hello? Anybody around? No, I'm just kidding. Zach's my buddy. He's here basically because, well, I don't know. Why don't you tell him a little bit about yourself?
All right. So I started off doing a community podcast called Retake SPL.
I feel that.
Yeah, you've been a guest on it. Hindu's been a guest on it. Had a few players that have been on it as well. Started that back in February. Now I'm an intern at hi-rez as a community intern, and then with Aggro not here, they had to call on me to save the show, so here I am.
That's right. Aggro's on vacation, so we do have the Zach Dick himself here. And like I said, I mean, we have similar backgrounds. We were just homies in the community that kind of made a show because we like Smite, and now we're here. So I respect your come up. I like that.
Yeah, I'm the new hotness. You're old and busted.
I don't know about that one.
All right. So let's talk about today. Let's talk about what everybody's playing for. A trip to DreamHack Valencia.
Sure.
We have the top 4 EU teams, the top 3 NA teams, all vying for that one chance to win DreamHack Valencia.
Yeah, I mean, you got 4 teams from Europe, 3 teams from North America, 1 team from San Antonio. Scratch that. That's actually South America. It's going to be Latin America and Brazil really fighting for that spot. So we're going to see how those guys really wind up, and that's what the summer split is basically about.
All right, so this weekend, we're doing a new event. For the first win of the day, you're going to get a booster. For the first day, you're going to get 3 favor boosters. For the second day, you're going to get 3 warship boosters. And for the last day, you're going to get fantasy point boosters.
Boosted! I pop boosters in every single lobby.
Do you? I like to hold on to mine.
Nah, see that's the thing. When you're bottom elo, and you go not support preferred, because that's what I say. I'll play literally the other, and yeah, you're bottom elo, buddy, and then they just instant lock like Kali. You pop 4 boosters in a row, and they go, "Yo, do you want Hades mid? What do you want?" And I'm like, "Hey, boy."
All right, so let's talk about EU standings. See how everybody lines up for today's matches. At the top, we've got Team Dignitas.
Yeah, Dig has been really crushing it, and that doesn't surprise anybody. What I think surprises people is how hard they've been crushing it. Enix, Obey Alliance, and then to a lesser extent, Rival. Where the hell is Energy? A lot of these people are supposed to not only dance with Dig, but beat them, split with them. And we're just not seeing that. Dig, I've been Mr. Enix. I've been so high on Enix. I thought with the changes they made, that this was going to be the team. I thought jungle, solo, this was the team. And they got smoked by Dig.
They sure did. But you got to look at the entire picture for EU. Everybody's so close. There's 5 teams all vying for that 4 spots.
Yeah.
So
Elevate kind of fell off, and then you got the newcomers. But those rest of the 5, like you said, man, those guys are killing it.
All right, let's take a look on the flip side. NA, big surprise for me is LG kind of fighting for the top.
A little bit. Interesting that you choose the word surprise. I don't want to say, I knew it all along, because LG looked like they were yesterday's news for a long time. They kind of fell off. But everything sort of came together, and these guys are looking like the team in North America. Monkey Madness, sure, they're there. I think LG are a stronger team. The one I am surprised about is ALG.
You are surprised about?
Yeah.
I said I was surprised about it. You said you weren't surprised about ALG.
Oh, I think you were talking about LG.
No.
I thought you were just like, hey, LG.
No. LG's looked really great. Their objective game,
yes.
They stepped that up for the split.
All right, so you know what? You're talking about Team Allegiance?
Yes.
I'm not surprised about them.
Really?
Yeah, not at all.
Why aren't you surprised about Team ALG?
It's a long time coming. These guys have put in the Weekend did the Echo Fox. If you look at some of their esports, Echo Fox just grabbed a team of 5 streamers, right? ALG, Weekend grabbed 4 streamers, right? He had the Matty Pocket, LOL. He had the Lazes. He had all these has-beens. Sorry, Laz, I love you. But it wasn't a competitive. It wasn't the most competitive team. And then slowly but surely, he picked out. All right, what up? I got. All right, okay. What up? I have a new mid laner. I have a new and slowly but surely, he got to the point where ALG is at right now. It was always a project. He did not expect to come out and win with Matty Pocket playing solo. He expected to set the table and then move on from there. And now so many splits later, he's got a team contending for the top 3. If you ask Weekend behind closed doors, I'm sure he says, You know what? 80% plan, 20% luck.
Really? That much?
Yeah, I think this was the plan for the get-go.
All right, so let's look at today's schedule. We've got, starting off our day, we've got EU with Team Rival versus the Papis.
And then later on, after the Papis show up, we'll finish EU with the Mountaineers, Elevate. I'm never going to call them that again. And Burrito. But then we've got ALG versus Noble. And then, of course, In Memory of Gabe versus Flashpoint.
Yes, that's right. So, looking at Flashpoint, they kick Sheikah.
Yeah.
So that'll be an interesting matchup to see how they play up and how they go up against In Memory of Gabe.
It's a shake-up.
Oh God, not already. Not on my first day, F. Let's ease me into it. All right. No. All right. So that's our international day. Who are you looking at for today's games? Who's gonna be your game to watch?
I want to see ALG beat up Noble. Like, real talk, Noble has had some changes, and I think they're positive, but I want to see ALG just go to town. This team has, I think, last week was the week that they said, hey, we're real, pay attention to us, and this week I want to see them double down, win 2 games in a row, like 20, 25 minutes. I want to see them destroy.
I think this is their chance. If they can't 2-0 Noble, I think that kind of speaks to where LAG is at. So let's talk about Elevate and Burrito. You've kind of got the team of Elevate who were trending upwards last split, and then you've got the new squad of Burrito. How does this matchup look up for you? It's
interesting because I think Burrito, out of some of the other teams, has a very high ceiling. I've spoken at length about the Papis and Burrito, and I think Burrito actually might wind up being the team with the higher ceiling. With Elevate leaving Fails behind, this has brought them down a peg. And while I don't think Burrito are there at their ceiling just yet, I don't think they're a fantastic team just yet, but I think they're on their way. And so for this matchup between Elevate and Burrito, I think this is going to be more even than people expect. I expect Jermaine and Dardes to destroy Kispanify and his friend. I think that duo lane is just already spoken about. Elevate can win that duo lane. But across the map, I think that's where Burrito looks really strong. I think Burrito looks to win elsewhere outside of the duo lane. Pick Shibalaki or Freya and just sit on your tower. You ain't winning anytime soon. Just sit there, farm late game, and then let your other teammates win if you're looking for Burrito to wind up with the W.
All right, so let's talk about that Elevate jungler situation. So they started off the year, Season 4, with Fails.
Yep.
And then coming into the summer split, they started off with Nika.
Ooh.
And now it's Cherio. So how is Cherio going to fit in with this Elevate squad?
Fit in, I think he's going to fit in fine. I never have an issue with Cherio's attitude. He can clam up and be quiet sometimes, but I don't really have an issue with him being a bad idea or a bad dude. What I am sort of less hot on as I have in the past is Cherio's just raw skill. He came out being this crazy good guy, and we always talk about how important it is to the mental aspect of the game. He just doesn't like jungling as much anymore. He prefers the Guardian role, so he wants to play support. Now he's in the jungle position. Is he really all there, is the question that I find myself asking. I think that no matter what happens, it's a downgrade from Fails. But versus Nika, I think this is as positive as you're going to get. And I know I'm kind of positioning this negatively. I think that Elevate has a good chance with Cherio.
Do you? He adds a lot of veteranship. Would you say veteranship?
A little bit. I mean, he's done his time in the gym, but he hasn't had those wins underneath him. I think it's more just he just adds another element of strength. He's a strong player.
All right. So on the flip side of Cherio, we've got Johnny for Burrito. How is Johnny going to match up against Cherio in that position?
Question marks for me all around. Johnny has really surprised us and looked really strong on the Susanoo. Just running games on characters like Susanoo and Thor, guys that could really just run the entire set of the game. Will we see that versus Cherio? I'm not sure. I'm very curious to watch this because of that.
I absolutely agree. He's been one of those guys who has his name has been in the caster's mouth constantly.
Well, I mean, that comes from his selection and his play style. He's omnipresent. He's always on the map. Whether that means he's doing well or poorly is a different story, but he's always there.
So do you favor Cherio or do you favor...
Like I said, man, this is a pure question mark for me, simply because I don't know. I'm not sure. Johnny doesn't have enough of a background for me to say, yeah, I expect this. It's a big question mark. And I think if I said Cherio simply because of his experience, I'd be doing Johnny a disservice. The Papis and specifically the Papis and Burrito have had experience beneath the pro level scene, and I don't want to write Johnny off. I think that he might be able to contend with Cherio. I'm sorry, I got to give you a question mark.
All right. I think I largely agree. This is a game. There's a lot of question marks around it.
Exactly.
That you have Elevate who are trending upwards. Is that still the case? And the Papis, obviously, they made it out of the Challenger circuit, so they are definitely trending upwards.
I hope Elevate still is trending upwards. Personally, I really like this unit. I liked what they were doing with Fails. I hope it continues going on.
All right, so let's look at the other matchup in EU today. Let's talk about Rival and Papis. How do you feel about Rival and Papis?
Less question marks here. More exclamation points. Rival are better than the Papis. Sorry. Full stop right now. The Papis can improve, and I think they have shown signs of improving, but Rival did that last year and the year before. They already did chapters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're on chapter 6, which is get to the top. And then chapter 7 through 10 is actually win it, right? The Papis are in chapter 2. They're working their way up. By no means are they done, but they're just not as good as Rival.
Right. With Rival's ascension up the ranks, how much of that would you attribute to Alpha Jackal coming in and his coaching?
A little bit. I think that Hazer did a lot of work with these guys when they were Cyclone GG. Alpha Jackal coming in is not a negative. I think it is a positive that somebody came in. I think that the team does a lot of work on their own, and Hazer did work in the past. And while I don't want to discredit or discount what Alpha Jackal has done, I think that the team and previous coaches have gotten them off the ground, and Alpha Jackal are keeping them afloat, put it that way.
Okay, so with Rival being leaned on as the favorites here, what do the Papis have to do to fight into this game?
The Papis have to, one, watch tape. Rival are a team that they're new in their dominance, and so a lot of what they do can be guessed upon. A lot of their picks and bans can sort of be banned against and worked into. You kind of know what these guys are going to play. Be aware of the double hunter. Be aware of some other tricks that are up their sleeve, and you can sort of play into that. The fact that this team is so new is a positive for Papis because they're not like a team that has infinite solutions like Energy even, or even looking at LG, who could just pull things out. Hey, Jeff, remember when we won in 2013? Let's do that strategy again. That's not available for Team Rival. This is a team that winning is relatively new. So if I'm Burrito, I'm watching the tape and I'm looking at what's made them successful and I'm fighting against it.
And I think having played in the CC scene so long, Poppy's been around a long time, watching tape is something that definitely is something they're accustomed to at this point. So I could see them giving Rival a run for the money at least.
Yeah.
So, you know, they've been very strong early game. You know, they want to fight you. They want to punch you in the face. And sometimes they do. Mm-hmm. Sometimes that, you know, that swing and punch doesn't connect.
Sure.
All right.
Like Drogus.
Like Drogus? Oh, God. All right. Let's break it down by role. Let's talk about Warchi and Vote.
Okay.
All right. Warchi is the captain. He's been around the scene for a while. Vote's
superstar.
He's a superstar. Vote is more of, I would say more of the up-and-comer.
A little bit. The way that Rival are the up-and-comers, where they already did the up-and-coming and they're here, how long can they float? Warchi, on the other hand, he's the superstar, mostly for his stream, but he is similar to players like Zapman. His stream can be top tier, and so can his play, and that's what we're really seeing in a Warchi. He's able to kind of play his role and do what he's supposed to. He brings out this Cupid, which is very powerful. People have been banning it against him.
If you get people to ban a Cupid against you, that's pretty telling about your skill on that god.
I mean, yes and no. He's not completely out of the meta. It's not like getting a Shibalake ban, but Homie has been playing the Cupid very consistently, and that synergizes well with the Papis do on a larger scale. So it is very important to them for sure.
All right, so we talked about Warchi. Let's talk about his lane opposition in Vote. Vote for me started off the year with great positioning, and he was my kid to watch. How has he evolved since the spring split?
He's just gotten a little bit more consistent and more confident. Vote with the 3.1 KDA. He really comes out and, unlike Warchi, doesn't just play his role. He tries to make those early rotations. You mentioned before how the Papis as a team try to early game smack you in the mouth. Vote by himself tries to do that nice and early. Look for early rotations out of the Hunter around like 5-6 minutes to enable his team to get Gold Fury.
All right. Do you think we'll see another visitation of the Rama from him?
I think it's very possible. It all depends on the matchup. Ram, one of the more popular characters. That's the character I would have asked if I were you. Freya. What the hell was she about? It's the opposite of the early game rotation that we normally see out of him. Super late game character. It's almost as if Voted BK is saying, she's not terrible. Watch me do it. And I'm down to watch him do it.
Do you think he can do it, though?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. Because his team can win 4v5.
All right. So we looked at the duo lane. Now let's kind of look at the junglers.
Dheylo, can we talk Dheylo?
We can talk about Dheylo.
Good, Dheylo. Dheylo's my man. Dheylo has been all over the map. That's his thing. And I love junglers that are all over the map. This guy, he throws the hammer out on the right side of the map, and then he ganks duo lane out of nowhere. I love what he does. He keeps the enemy thinking, and I think that's one of the most important things about a jungler is to, Andy used to do this, and I know that he wasn't the greatest, and people will question me. Shing used to do this. You never know where these guys are going. And, all right, it's 7 minutes. He should be at my speed buff. No, he's at your back harpies waiting for you to go to your speed buff, getting the double kill. That's the type of play that we see out of Dheylo. Is he the world's greatest jungler? Not yet, but his play style is very exciting to watch.
It looks like the theme of, especially this year, has been trending upwards.
Yeah.
All these rookies, all these guys coming in, the fresh blood, all of these guys look to have a lot of potential, and Dheylo's definitely one of those guys.
Yep.
But let's talk about his matchup in iceicebaby. Ice has been looking fairly consistent, pretty good so far.
Consistent isn't the word I would use, but more towards consistent. Ice used to be this coin flip type guy where flip a coin. If heads, prevent all damage coming out from iceicebaby, right? And he just does nothing. And then if tails, well, let him run the game. You give this guy Susato, you give this guy Circuit, and he can just ruin your day. On some of the other characters, he does well. Better than average, but not that dominant character. So he's more consistent in that. It's rare to see him have a miserable game, and I think that's important to rival success. But will he always be adapting is a different story. I think that it's positive for him more times than not. So you know what? I won't fight you on it. I guess he is consistent.
He's trending towards that consistent mark.
All right.
All right, so in that matchup, who do you favor? Who's got, if it's a 50-50, if it's a 51-49, who, if you were in Vegas, who you put your money on?
Ice because he's got the rest of the squad. When it comes down to it, Ice, like I said, if Ice does get Susato or Circuit or one of these characters that he can just hyper carry on, watch out. I mean, this is going to be a bad day for the Papis. But Dheylo across the way, he's a lot better than people anticipate. I put my money on iceicebaby, but we're talking 60-40.
60-40? All right, so you think, are we looking at Rival getting the victory here?
Yes.
Is it going to be easy for them?
No, it'll be moderate.
Moderate? You're gonna stick with moderate?
Not hard, but not easy. Just like, you got to work for it.
That's like the analyst equivalent of just saying, it's going to be a split.
No, it's not. I disagree. I think that when it comes down to it, this team is going to have to fight for the win. They're not going to get it easily, but it won't be blood, sweat, and tears. Oh, my God, I'm walking from California to New York. It'll be a marathon.
All right, so we'll see if this is going to be a moderate show for the rival squad beating the Papis. So let's see. Let's go talk to the casters for picking bands.
Hey!
Thanks so much, guys. And we are here. I can hear you just fine. And it's gonna be me and Hindu. I am Taco. This is Hindu. We all know and love him. And considering that we're starting things off with EU today, I am more than excited to get things going off with you. You want to borrow?
No, as long as you can hear me. Oh, I can hear myself now. There we go. Fixed. Yeah, it should be interesting. Papis up against Rival. Rival definitely favorites coming into this one. We'll see how they do, though, because, you know, Rival sometimes cause themselves issues more than they need to, and Papis are one of these teams that can hang around a little bit longer.
You say that Rivals are the fan favorites here, but I would probably have to disagree a little bit. I mean, if you take a look at Twitch chat...
Sorry, when I put that, I mean expected to win, not necessarily fan favorites. Papis are fan favorites. Like the Spanish community together, like I'm pretty sure them alone have more followers than most of the other teams.
That wouldn't surprise me in the slightest, actually. This team's always had a ton of backing behind them. And kind of like what Zach and Tom were mentioning on the desk, I would have to agree. I don't think that this will be an easy victory at all for Rival. If anything, I think that if Rival aren't careful and if they underestimate their opposition, Papis could very well find the split, or even a 2-0.
Completely agree, but we'll see what the Papis can do here today. Obviously, they mentioned Dheylo in the jungle and Warchi, but the whole roster has been together for a while now. Consistently competing through the Challenger circuit to get to the Pro League. Found their first pro win up against Elevate when they found that split. So they've already got games under their belt already. And Elevate later on today, they have also got a game too. We'll see how they do against their opposition.
And I also just really like the other members of the Papis because while people tend to look at Dheylo and Warchi, I want to say I've really been impressed with Dracomarino on that support gameplay and Creed as well in the solo lane. And we haven't seen too much out of Ojo yet. Ojoboom in that mid lane, I think, is somebody who has a ton of potential. It just hasn't really been able to harness itself yet, and that's kind of anticipated when you're new to the SPL.
That's a very good point. We'll see how the Papis can continue. We're just waiting for them to get into picks and bans right now, so just bear with us a minute or two as we talk through these two teams. So we looked at the duo lane a little bit more. What about, we've mentioned the junglers too, what about the solo laners? Deathwalker here up against Creed. You mentioned a little bit about Creed already. Deathwalker's kind of an innovator over in Europe now, I want to say, because he keeps bringing out these unconventional builds that seem to work out.
And that's kind of what you expect from Deathwalker. Anybody who's known Deathwalker and watched the rivals as they progress throughout the SPL, that's always just kind of been his staple trademark. He just wants to find a build that's pretty janky but can actually work, and then people are just like, oh, wow, this guy's actually, he's doing it, and that's always a great thing to see whenever solo laners can just take that initiative to look for the next big thing.
Yeah, sure. And that's the main thing with Deathwalker is that he seemed to be bringing out items that nobody really thought about, or maybe gods. Like, Bellona was out of the meta for a while, and he brought her back into play. And everyone was like, wait a second, Bellona's really this strong. She's really this strong. That's crazy.
And now she's literally in every single ranked game.
Every single
So thanks a lot for that one, Deathwalker.
But the new patch hit, boys and girls. So if you just tuned in for the first time, you've not seen the latest patch, or you've not don't know what to pick in the latest patch, these guys on your screen today will show you just that, what they're picking, the competitive play, what sort of itemization they're doing, and how they're playing the map, if there's been any changes to the way the map's played based off itemization and god
no
balance.
Surprises at all seeing that Fafnir being taken away immediately. That is a standard go-to for Rival in particular. Callus's Fafnir is pretty insane, so that's a very smart ban by the Papis, and I'm loving the Robin selection as well to just eliminate that aspect.
So Osiris taken out as well, even though we did see some changes to Death's Toll and its performance there. We'll see how that continues on, though. Bellona is available. Papis will lock it in. Obviously, you don't want to give it Deathwalker. We just mentioned he was one of the innovators who brought her back.
And I'm loving it because Creed is also somebody who's very proficient on this Bellona, so incredibly strong selection in that solo lane, eliminating the Osiris, because while Osiris isn't necessarily as strong in team fights as Bellona can be, he's still incredibly annoying to deal with because he is just such a prominent factor in that solo lane.
Yeah, dominant position for him overall, at least in the laning phase of Sol. Thor locked in. Ganesha now slipping down to just pickable, not perma-bannable or first pickable either.
Not perma-bannable or first pickable, but Ganesh could still have that potential objective control. We haven't seen a whole lot of teams really get the chance to utilize that ultimate onto the objective control area, but I still think that there's a lot of insight that teams haven't really been able to show us quite yet for these gods, so I'm really excited to see the Papis of all teams take that god.
We'll see what they can do with Ganesha as well, because Ganesha's, obviously the silence is very, very important on that kit to try and slow people down. Silences are so good against assassins and guardians specifically, because they're both mainly ability-based to really make an impact in the game.
And I am loving I just think that you can tell how well thought out these picks and bans are from both teams, because Team Rival eliminating the Thoth, that's a very strong selection to take away from Ojoboom. It tends to be, Thoth is a god that a lot of mid laners like to lean on. I think that Ojo has proved he really likes this god, even though we haven't seen it really too much out of him in comparison to his Poseidon gameplay, for example. I just really like that they're taking away that jungle control aspect.
Well, one interesting thing is seeing what Rival did with the Athena pickup there. I'm surprised we see an Athena, just because when she dashes in and looks for that taunt, if Ganesh is there, that silence I was mentioning will immediately be used to stop the taunt, and it puts the Athena in a very awkward position where she's got a good second and a half where she can't cast anything, just stood there like a sitting duck.
I think that Rival are kind of just banking on the engage that they have between the Thor and the Athena, just in case the Ganesh is going to catch one of those off. they still have the other to fall back on. So I actually, and plus you can never really go wrong with an Athena Medusa combination, which is, I think, the real mindset behind this rival draft.
Well, Nemesis and Vulcan locked in too. So a lot of beads burners on both teams, realistically, when you think about it. Obviously, not so much with the Papis, but there's a few that you will burn beads for, like the slows coming out from Nemesis. Even though you wouldn't want to, you kind of have to sometimes.
And you kind of have to, but I don't know, because there's always the addition of Wing Blade. You can always try and keep that in mind. And Sprint isn't the very common pickup because it doesn't make you immune after the slight nerf to it. But I think that it's still a strong acquisition if you're trying to just get that initial burst to get away.
Well, Erlang shows the final pick for Rival, more than likely for the solo lane, hit Athena in support. A lot of global pressure from Rival if you think about it, very, very safe lanes. And then having Thor and Athena to just back up their teammates. We'll see how Rival do. The one thing I'm definitely interested in is where Creed starts, because Creed really likes to like this mid lane at level 1, and playing Bellona, it's rightly so that he'd look to pressure it.
I will be upset if Rival actually lose first blood to this game by Creed, because this is something that I just want to see teams forward. And iceicebaby having his one selection will make it so that he can avoid reaching them right away, and that's great.
Yeah, funny enough, with that actual start off there, it was a little bit of pressure with the fact that there's a lot of problems going on overall across the map. As you can see, the left-hand side already pushed in by the Papis. They're going to look to take away the red buff on the left-hand side, and at the same time, Elemental's going to go the way of the Papis too. So far so good for the Papis, off to a decent enough start with no real issues.
And having no real issues is kind of the ideal setting for these two teams. They want to just have their jungle control from the get-go. Look to just farm out these lanes as efficiently as possible.
Well, left-hand side continue to pressure back now with Callus and Vote as the time goes down. And it causes them a lot of problems so far between the two teams.
And having these issues in mind is something that they always need to keep in mind, because you want to... Oh, I'm loving this by Rival. They're immediately going for the Oracle Vision, and that's kind of just exactly where they need to be. Having that Oracle Vision early on just makes it so much easier for these two teams to maintain that dominance in the mid lane.
Well, right inside, Deathwalker just gets pressured out a little bit here as he continues to just farm at the tower, knowing Creed and Dheylo are winged in the wings. Just going to push out and then go back to the back harpies there, more than likely is Dheylo. Obviously, Creed in the lane just going to try and keep poking down Deathwalker for the time being. But it's all square fit now, just a small lead with Papis invading that red buff early on.
And Erlang Shen, it's really a guy that we haven't been seeing too much of lately. We saw actually recently from Walrus on the side of NA, and I think that it's really interesting how this guy is kind of seeming to make a slow comeback into the meta.
Yeah, it's also one thing about seeing Erlang come back. Is it just generally down to the wave clear, or was it because Death's Toll was good alongside he has cleave attacks as well? Plus his wave clear was pretty potent with those pins that can hit onto gods at the same time for poke damage.
I think it's just teams looking again for that team fighting setup, and Erlang, while he won't necessarily win the laning phase against the Bellonas or the Osiris's, he can certainly put up a solid enough stalemate to prevent them from getting ridiculously far ahead.
Right-hand side, you can keep it on the minimap as the iceicebaby potentially in the sky right now, and is looking towards Ojoboom. I'm not sure if you recognize him as he gets hit by the beads. Immediately comes out from Ojoboom, just a disengage. iceicebaby got what he wanted though. He got the beads and immediately left himself.
That is a win every single time for Rival, because pulling the ultimate as well from the Nemesis, so you get beads and an ult for free, and now you've got Callus just trying to annoy Dheylo in the mid lane as well.
Yeah, just caused some problems for Dheylo, who didn't panic there, didn't use his beads. He wasn't worried about an all-in potential for the time being. But that's the one thing you did mention here, is the fact the Athena Medusa combo. It's one of those combinations that when Medusa was first released, everyone was like, oh, Athena Medusa. Oh my gosh, that's going to be amazing. And then we don't see it as often as we thought we would in terms of the full combo working so well together.
It's just because at a competitive level, teams don't typically stack upon each other. The players are usually spread out enough to make it so it's not as effective. Because if there's an Athena on the enemy team, you should never be grouped anyway. If there's an Athena and a Medusa and you're grouped, you're just asking to get wiped.
Well, I didn't mention the relic changes and the relic choices between the two teams right now, but the Papis on the left-hand side, you can see that Dracomarino has actually got the hand of the gods. Meanwhile, his lane opponent, Callus here, started off with Frenzy.
And I love the decision by him to look for the hand of the gods, because you just could have the potential for the invades, which is exactly what they're trying to do onto Rival right now. That's an instant secure every single time. And that's solid by Papis.
Yeah, just nice, easy, clean, get in, get out, use the hog to your advantage too. Nobody gets caught out. As you saw, iceicebaby had already used his wall, and Callus can't really get in position for the taunt here, so it's just going to go back to farming mid lane with the Papis slowly but suring, keeping the pressure on the left-hand side of the map.
Plus, it's a massively lower cooldown whenever that occurs. So if you secure the buff with the Hand of the Gods, then you don't have to worry about about having to wait the entire duration of that cooldown, which is always a strong acquisition.
Now, we mentioned the Frenzy, obviously, on Callus here, so he's gone for that option, which is one of the versions of Sunder that, technically it's not Sunder, but it still gives you a big power spike for your whole team, even though it doesn't increase the damage to an individual target. It increases damage done by all your team.
Which I love, actually, because you've got iceicebaby running the Sunder, and then with Callus on that Frenzy, if they were to Sunder an individual target, as the team is looking to peel off for, or is it basically the Papis look to peel for whoever gets Sundered, they could find themselves in a really awkward position if Callus pops that Frenzy, because then Rival's just going to try to gas pedal their entire team down.
Now, on top of that, I can see why Thor would potentially like that Sunder, just because his full combo, when you think about it, dunk into Sunder, into wall, into double tap, could be really beneficial for him to get a lot of burst damage off in the engagement, just because he self-sets him up for a lot of individual base damage.
And still, I like the patience by both of these teams, because even after iceicebaby had forced the beads from Ojo, they didn't necessarily try to all-in him right away. And I like that decision-making just because it's all too easy for, I think, the Papis to counter-engage with their draft.
Yeah, well, we'll see how it goes on with the counter-engage from Papis. Is it going to be really difficult for them to counter-engage, though? Because in my eyes, I'm like, Ganesha's going to have the silence, you got the meatballs to knock up, then you got a Nemesis ult too?
No, that's what I was saying. It's easier for them to counter-engage.
Gotcha.
Because their counter is actually probably one of the best parts about their draft. I don't think the Papis are really looking to initiate or start the fights. They just want to finish them.
And you think about Rival as well, they are a very aggressive team, so it wouldn't surprise me to see the ones be aggressive and then Papis look to punish them. As you can see here, Dracomarino got a nice little bit of damage onto Callus, who was a little bit upset and used a taunt onto Draco, but it wasn't as much damage done back to him for the time being here. A lot of those mask stacks coming through from Dracomarino. This support player for me is the one that's been a shining star on Papis, just quietly and consistently been having good performances. Now on the Ganesh, we'll see what he can do with it.
I've always really enjoyed Dracomarino as a solid player. He's very consistent, and I think the consistency on a support can be one of the harder tasks to accomplish.
Sure, because you've got to work out every situation, every game changes, and as a support, you could be behind, you could be ahead. Am I setting up? Am I defending? Warchi doesn't get hit by a taunt there, surprisingly enough, and I think if he did realize he wasn't getting hit, he would have been a little bit more aggressive. Dharmic Pillars down from Draco, though. Big ultimate onto Callus will connect, with Dheylo looking to follow up for the first blood. Into the sky goes Warchi, and the snipe is good. And the Spanish boys are off to a great start up against Rival.
And first blood, Callus being the one to fall just means that this red buff is most likely going to go the way of Papis. They've got the Wrath available, and no doubt, Warchi just gets a refreshment on the red buff.
This is kind of standard though, Taco. I've seen this as a support that's focused down early on. Generally, the supports are one of the easiest ones to get, so they get a few more levels online, get a couple of items under their belt to be able to sustain and survive these little burst damages. So Papis playing this well, because it was Rival the ones that, you know, were slightly out of position there. They're the ones that went aggressive first of all, with Callus missing that taunt.
They were probably just so confused by the fact that they had a Ram rolling into them, because typically it's not the ADC looking to start things off, and Warchi was ready to go in, and I just love the follow-up by the Papis. And you say that it might not necessarily be that easy for them to capitalize onto slight mispositionings by Rival, but with the Nemesis on your side, supports aren't really ever going to be that tanky.
Harpy's really focused over there between both teams, but Rival come out with both of them there. Papis gave up the goose for a second, was a little bit concerned about the pressure coming out from Rival coming across this side of the map. Just being respectful of the engage that Rival have to their name at the moment, and that's the main thing to watch for here, is it should be Rival on the engagements, it should be Papis on the counters every single team fight.
And that's what I'm really looking forward to, is just how well can Papis continue to work around these engagements by Rival, because a team like Rival that's starting to garner a lot of experience, especially at a competitive level of play and a top level of competitive play, it can be kind of difficult to just continue dealing with the barrage of attacks.
Well, Deathwalker on the right-hand side there playing that Erlang Shen. Already been back to base a little bit earlier than iCreed has. Tier 2 online off that steel mail, so it's going to give him a little bit more survivability, some tankiness, as well as more than likely turn towards that mystical mail, which we've seen so often than not. Do we expect Creed to go the same way? Well, he has so far. Is it mystical mail as well, do you expect?
I would like to see the Mystical Mill, personally, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was a Nemean Lion, for instance, because a couple of solo laners lately have been tending to lean towards the Nemean against auto attack-based gods, and especially when you're facing off against, on either side,
Yeah.
you could really, either of these solo laners could go with the Nemean Lion, because there's auto attack-based hunters on both sides, so it'd just be strong. And I mean, Bellona and Erlang, what do they love doing? They just love slapping each other in the face nonstop.
Well,
so
Warchi definitely knows his builds, because normally we would see an Igval coming out of the Hunter in the duo lane, but now that he's up against a magical Hunter in Vote playing that Sol, you can see that he's gone for the Silver Branch Bow instead. Same thing, he just reduces magical damage instead of physical damage.
And if anything, that works slightly against him, but hold that thought, because Dheylo could have Rival working against him, and it's going to be Ojoboom backing him up, but Creed made that rotation.
He did. He teleported into that left-hand side ward there, but the problem is there's ward coverage down, so Rival know what's happened here. And Rival just hanging around to make sure that Creed's teleport is fully wasted. No one can invest. They're looking for iceicebaby in mid. Great ultimate out of Wlfy, but still everybody alive on the side of the Papis. And Warchi again with the snipes will make it a 1-for-1 trade, as Creed finally did fall down there, but Warchi's snipe was beautiful.
All three of those connected, I'm pretty sure. I know that definitely those, the second and third one, and the damage that just chunked onto iceicebaby, what an excellent pickup by Warchi, because that would have been so unfavorable towards Papis. It still could be, however. They're looking to engage on the Gold Fury, but Dracomarino is going to keep them away.
Yeah, Draco managed to just get out of danger there. And once again, Callus didn't seem to find the taunt. He was looking for onto Draco. And so the Gold Fury ends up getting reset there. They were trying to bait in Papis for another kill there, it felt like.
I think that ultimate by Draco, 100% worth it every single time.
Just pulled him out. Yeah, why not? I mean, throw it out there, try and deny them doing stuff. Vote's going to have to end up going back to base there on the left-hand side and have to pull in the Gold Fury, which means Warchi gets a little bit more of a lead up against him. And now the Papis a little bit more confident around this Gold Fury. There is a ward down there, but I believe that is a Papis ward as it stands. With Warchi's positioning, Rival might have an idea as now Creed comes over as well from the solo lane. Callus and Wlfy, the only two defenders for Rival. Vulcan up coming in, and that should secure the Gold Fury, and will. Papis pick it up, and now it's Callus in trouble, who just dashed in. Callus running for his life, but he can't run far while being silenced out and bursted down by the Papis full 5-man squad.
I'm loving this Papis gameplay so far. It just looks so composed, and you can definitely tell that just the couple of weeks that they've spent in the SPL, they've been looking at every single game and learning. Yeah, it's great. Yeah,
they really are learning, and they're learning the mistakes they've made. They're adjusting to them, and it's working out so well. Now, one thing we didn't see was obviously Rival on the right-hand side did manage to get the Portal Demon in response to that attacker at 10 minutes mark. It's not as useful as it used to be. It doesn't give as much gold, but it is something to answer back some of that Gold Fury gold loss.
It'll at least prevent Papis from securing the Portal Demon to have that mid lane pressure or even the solo lane pressure, because rotations are all too easy to make when you can back out and get back in for free.
Well, Creed made 2 rotations to that Gold Fury, and the second one did secure it for his team. Level 13 up against Deathwalker right now, and both of them still working towards the build. You can see he did pick up Sunder here, Creed, whereas Deathwalker went for the sprint option. Now, the upgraded version of this sprint is Heavenly Agility, which is the go gas pedal pretty much for every single hunter and auto attacker in the game, and they've got 3 of them. They've got a Sol, they've got the Medusa, and they've got an Erlang Shen. This sprint could cause them issues for Papis.
I'm waiting for the Thor Fatalis effect.
Oh, you reckon just swinging down and you're
just running in. But no, I do really like the mindset behind this for Rival, because you kind of just want to get out as fast as possible whenever the counter engage from Papis starts to come through. We saw a little bit of engage there by Callus in the mid lane.
Again coming out from Draco. Yeah, you saw Callus dash, and that's what I was worried about. Every time Athena comes in, the elephant can just turn around and go, well, I don't forget what you do next. I'll just hit the silence button, and there'll be no taunt coming.
Gotta be quick on those reflexes. The big thing here for Rival is going to be baiting out that silence on Draco, because if he doesn't have it available, I mean, that engage by them is usually probably going to go their way. But I think that as long as Callus tries to basically strike in without any sort of follow or setup behind it initially, I don't think that it's going to go very well. But Warchi having to use his beads as Vogue gets the better trade of that.
Definitely a good taunt. So definitely good beads coming out from Warchi there in response. He didn't concern himself too much. He just wanted to get away as quick as possible. Could have eaten the taunt, but if he did that, then he would have eaten more damage from the in-hands as well coming out from Vote, and potentially been forced to ult defensively. And that's all we need to see out of Callus here, I think. Callus needs to stay away from Draco, because if he goes anywhere near that elephant, it's going to cause him so many problems every team fight, which we keep seeing.
Oh, Draco unable to steal away the red buff this time. It's going to be Rival securing their own jungle buff, which I'm sure Vote is happy about. Having a red as the ADC is always just such a good feeling.
Oh, for sure. If you can get the red for yourself, he's having a good old dream day because the mage isn't getting it, which is always a good thing because it means you're going to be top of the player damage at the end of the day. That's all it's about, right?
Is that all it's about? Well, Creed right now
Let's be honest. The amount of players we see just doing player damage over anything else, that's all they care about. As long as if you lose the game, as long as you're top damage, you're okay. You know, you did your job.
Oh, my God.
Every pro says that. It's fine. They always look at each other with player damage. Every pro. Some of them pretend that they don't care about that, but they do. When the game's over, they compare their player damage to their opposition and go, yeah, I did my job.
It's all about that support player damage to me.
Yo, that's where I'm at. You know, it's wards placed and player damage as a support are the two most integral things you can do. And if you're losing the player damage as a support, you look at damage mitigated. Right? As a support player...
Why don't you just add all the numbers together?
Because sometimes if you do that, you still lose.
Oh.
Because you're a support player. Trust me. Sometimes you're like, okay, yeah, I did 30k worth of healing and damage and surviving with mitigations and things and healing too. And then you look at the solo lane and it's like, yeah, he did 50k of each of those things.
Are you saying that warriors are OP right now?
No, everything's OP in the right situation. Let's be honest. Nothing's balanced. It never will be. Ojoboom and the back harpies are right now just farming up on this Vulcan. Hasn't died yet, went straight for the Legion Helm, which we've not seen too much of just lately, but it's starting to come back into fashion again. I guess it's just because he's against a Hunter in mid lane. Is that the main reason?
That would definitely help as far as you never want to have to deal against a hard physical carry, and once you know that you're against it, you might as well just pick up that Dynasty Plate Helm, provide yourself a little bit of protections as well as just having it still provides solid stats. I mean, you still get the penetration off of it as well.
Well, looking at the actual relics one more time, the one thing we don't normally talk about is when they've been upgraded, but just underneath the icon you can see there's 3 little pips. Normally it's 2, which means it's the base version, and when there's 3, there's an upgraded version of that relic. And as you can tell on the screen right now, you've got a couple of Sunders for the side of Papis, both been upgraded to the maximum potential. The shell for Dracomarino also upgraded. And across the way, Callus has also invested into a fully upgraded version of the Frenzy and the shell as well.
It's interesting how highly the Papis are valuing those Sunders to rush finishing them and maxing them out before worrying about their builds. And right now, iceicebaby looking to go in with Callus ulting onto him, but it's going to be Ojoboom who secures the Gold Fury for the Papis.
And the Papis look to run away straight away. Rival were a little bit too late to the party, couldn't contest as well as they could, thought they could. And against Ojoboom as well on that Vulcan, it's so hard to try and fight a Vulcan who can just use the ultimate at any time for a big burst of damage. But here we go again. Rival heading straight over to the Portal Demon. This time Creed's like, no, we're not having that sort of fun. Big old Eagles rally. He gets killed for this. The problem is they also set up a lot of potential there for Rivals to burst down the Portal Demon. And it's 1-0 the way of Rival there.
Ojoboom, I thought he was actually about to secure it with the meatball, but just off the mark. Still, I think that was a very solid call by Rival. It does leave Warchi open on this duo lane. He's just happy to farm that one out and secure the tower, which will open up a little bit of map pressure for the Papis.
And if anything, that kind of makes it even again, because 1 kill for technically tower pressure on one of the sides of the map works out well. The the Portal Demon worth about the same as a tier 1 tower anyway, so gold experience-wise, it's not so good. But Rival now have 3 in mid lane. Vote's joining in 2. Don't forget his double hunters. Dheylo in the jungle, dueling against Deathwalker at the same time. And Dheylo losing that trade force to shield. Tier 1 tower is about to fall down in mid and does. Dracomarino will drop the Dharmic pillars just for an escape route.
And that is the risky call by the Papis trying to defend that T1 tower against the dual hunters, because a Soul, especially as the other ADC, just helps shred objectives so quickly. And Papis now, they really need to start being careful about how much they're committing into these objective secures, because if they're expending their Vulcan ultimate or the Ganesha ultimate every single time to pick up the Gold Fury or even like a potential Fire Giant down the line, they have to be worried about what comes next, because Rival, while they don't necessarily have a composition that can have like the all-in burst, they have the one that can continuously keep engaging.
Now you can see the experience in gold lead definitely in Papis' favor right now. It's only 2,000 gold lead, but it is something. 4,000 experience or just under is a little bit better though for the Papis here, getting those extra levels under their belt early on.
It's always nice to just be slightly ahead of your opposition. Just if anything, even if it's not super beneficial as far as the direct 1v1 is concerned, it just helps you feel a little bit better about farming.
Well, you can see iceicebaby on the map now. He's not having the greatest of games so far, I'd say. At 19 minutes in, less than 2,000 player damage on a Thor. He's just not found a window to really get into this game, it seems.
We're not used to seeing iceicebaby this far behind either. And again, the aggression by Callus trying to get things going here for Rival, and Papis just waiting for it every single time, looking to try and punish him.
It almost feels like we should be seeing iceicebaby doing a couple more engages and allowing Callus to be the one that follows up off that. Try and make sure that silence is down and the dominant pillars are potentially down there from that Ganesha before we see the Athena go in. If anything, iceicebaby should be dunking in, hitting him maybe a quick combo and disappearing again, disengaging, while the Papis look to initiate onto him, which allows his team to focus on getting the kills in response.
I think his big concern there, though, is if he gets silenced out after throwing out his hammer, which is probably what Draco is going to be waiting for, he could very well find himself dying pretty quickly.
Well, he does have an Aegis as well now, does iceicebaby. We'll see what he can do with that, because he could potentially just absorb quite a lot of damage here. Looks like Papis setting up around the Fire Giant a little bit at the moment. Not necessarily too early to do the Fire Giant now, approaching 20 minutes in, but I love the fact the turret on Vulcan is always used as an additional ward if need be.
It's just convenient having the Vulcan turret, being able to place it down.
He does stuff like this, watch it. He's going to hit iceicebaby now. And Ice is going to get some player damage off. Not really. You don't get damage for killing the turret, sadly. Callus is actually going to take it up. Look at him. He's a hero. He finally got that turret down. It counts
as a minion, though.
It does.
For stacks.
It does.
That's always fun.
Well, good to know for future reference. The clay minions count for that on Noir and things too?
Yes.
Oh, and some Wukong clone does. I know that.
Yeah, you get it for a lot of little things. It kind of caught me off guard first time that I found out.
What, when you finally learned to build stacks?
Oh, I mean, nobody ever builds stacks anymore,
they
really.
Don't?
Well, it's like coming back. It's making a comeback.
Rage. Everyone builds rage stacks now. Everybody wants rage stacks.
Those aren't the same kind of stacks. Those aren't the right kind of stacks.
How are they not the right kind of stacks? Stacks are stacks.
The best kind of builds were like the OG stack builds, where you only built stacking items plus the Fatalis.
So like old school Heartseeker.
Yeah.
The old Heartseeker, the 50 stack Heartseeker.
Yeah, Wlfy would get really mad at me for those.
Well, everyone's been talking just lately about the tank meta could be on its way, with Sunday taking some nerfs to it. You can see that a lot of more people now going away from the Sunday potentially in the future. A couple more shells now coming online. You can see supports not investing into these Sunders, but from just his first game of the week, you can see still Sunder's viable.
Sunder, I think, is definitely still viable, especially depending on how you use it. When you have a Nemesis on your side as well, I mean, Sunder, or almost anything, is going to be viable, considering just how much the Nemesis ultimate really takes away.
If anything, an upgraded Sunder is basically another Nemesis ult anyway. So you've basically got Nemesis with 2 ultimates at any given moment. And by given moment, it's like within a 3-minute window.
Stacking them's always fun. It's not fun for whoever gets hit by it, but it's always fun to watch it happen.
Well, grouping up around the Wlfy, which has respawned again, Papis getting the last 2 means that Rival really need to sort out their objective control. One of the teams that have been very, very good at objective control since this season started, but right now it's Papis that are beating them. This is off the mark as a wall and a dash used at the same time. What's so wrong with Rival? Callus is already dead. Nice ultimate came out from Vote there on the Soul to slow them down and deal some damage back. Ice goes back in and immediately beats from Warchi. Nice ult coming out from Wlfy as well, which will force Warchi back. And Krieg comes into the fight very late on his own, but gonna disengage, make sure Papis have a window to breathe, and has to defend the Wlfy alone. To cancel that, Ojoboom's hanging around.
Had it not been for that ultimate by Wlfy, I think Papis would have very well just re-engaged right then and there, and that could have spelled disaster for Rival, but instead it's going to be Deathwalker popping his ultimate to try and pull the aggression onto Creed. I think they want to look to all in him.
Not everybody on the same page from Rival today, quite clearly with their playstyle. I mean, we saw walls and dashes at the same time. We just saw an Deathwalker randomly onto Creed when nobody else was ready. And then the time when they do commit onto Creed, he can just still walk away. Nice turn onto Ojo from Callus, but a big silence from Draco, hitting multiple members of Rival saying, no, there will be no follow-up.
That silence from Draco has just been so problematic for Rival. They can't find an opening when there are openings.
And now Warchi with a full rage online, still building the stacks, but working towards that Deathbringer too. Means that there could be pressure onto Warchi. So Wlfy here, he's already burnt his Aegis. Warchi's second shot didn't hit. His third one hits Deathwalker, who's very tanky, and it won't cause him a lot of problems. But still, Papis looking for aggression in the jungle. jungle.
And they push them out pretty efficiently.
Oh, they just Warchi.
Spending it a little bit
too
soon.
early. Yeah, a little bit too early. There was no follow-up from Rival, but then straight after, Callus in trouble again. And once again, Ojoboom's ultimate comes through to make sure Dheylo picks up the kill. Deathwalker slowed by the Dharmic Pillars, and then he gets picked up by Dheylo as well. Creed just happy to just keep wailing away with this mystical male. Dheylo looking to support. Meanwhile, the rest of Papis return to the Gold Fury.
And they just need to stick to this Gold Fury because iceicebaby, he's got his ultimate available. They do need to be careful for this Thor potential steal, but it's already down.
But Draco's back in place. Iceice sees him, goes to commit, looking for the pickup of the Ganesh, but Ganesh knocks him up in the sky and silences him out, and the in-hand from iceicebaby. Oh my, Rival are going to lose this game at this rate. They really are.
The Papis, the Papis are playing insane.
Ganesha open. Like, listen, this is the moment where you can go, okay, Ganesha might be good. You know?
might be good.
It might be good. Because I thought he was going to be...
silence.
I thought he was going to be okay. The silence is definitely the key, but obviously having the knock-up as well from the charge is very, very useful. And Warchi able to just solo down the portal demon. Papis are in full control of this game now.
And I am loving how Papis are really playing this one to their advantage. They are just waiting, and that discipline by the Papis is leading them to coming out victorious in these team fights.
Well, Fire Giant was pulled. Warchi rolling on Deathwalker, wants to box him out. Cal's going to taunt him in the background. Vote trapped inside that Dharmic Pillar, but luckily enough, he's going to be okay. The silence, though, from Draco sets up Ojoboom to pick up Deathwalker before Death could get away. Vulcan up lot this time, very good from Ojoboom, but the snaps from Warchi were better. One more backfire from Ojoboom could set him up, but with the reinforcements from Rival means Callus should be able to still get away. Still, though, Papis committed. It's a little bit risky to do this, but it's still working out in their favor as they get the tier one on the right-hand side.
They just need to fall back. Deathwalker is down for another 30 seconds minimum, so already a 4v5 scenario, and they're expending the Athena ultimate just to try and ensure that Papis aren't rushing down this Fire Giant.
Taunt on Callus in the mid lane around the Fire Giant again, I should say. Didn't get any beads that time round out of the Papis members, so it's 8-2, 25 minutes in, and the Papis, yes, the Papis are up about 7,000 gold against Rival.
That's incredible.
You wouldn't have expected it coming to the split with how Rival performed at the LANs recently and how their season's been going.
Well, we said it right before the set even began. If Rival underestimate their opposition, the Papis could very well find themselves a victory.
Fire Giant's really low. Fire Giant's down, and now Papis are on the engagement. Draco dashing in, gonna make sure he gets those Dharmic Pillars down early, but they don't get enough of a slow just yet for the rest of the Papis to catch up. Good news is Papis 5-man strong with the Fire Giant can now walk towards mid and start stripping down some of these towers.
And this isn't really to say anything bad about Rival either. This has really just been an excellent drafting composition by the Papis, and they are executing their comp perfectly.
And you can see what Rival's plan was here. Double Hunter, look for tower shred, look for objective control, spread them down quickly, but Papis went for counter engage and burst damage on objectives with the fact they've got that Vulcan on the squad and the Rama too. 2 towers down in the mid lane, tier 1 and tier 2 respectively, and the Papis will head straight over to the left hand side, look to strip the jungle and maybe a cheeky look towards that tier 2 as well.
Best to just secure the T2 tower that's furthest from Fire Giant. If Papis are going to find a pick against a Rival, they want to find themselves in the lane furthest from the Fire Giant just so they can try and secure that Phoenix, set themselves up pretty nice in case this fight continues.
Well, coming into this set, we mentioned how important the jungle matchup would be on the deaths that I left up. We're talking about Dheylo versus iceicebaby. And again, Iceice has not really been involved in this game. You can see his player damage, 4,000 right now. Is it because of the silence? Is it all because of the silence?
I think that this Ganesha is just doing so much work for the Papis.
Well, here he goes. Into the sky goes Iceice. Night taunt from Deathwalker too. Multiple beats used, but Creed with a great ultimate sets up Warchi and Ojoboom's ultimate to come through too. Snipes from the sky from Warchi, slows iceicebaby running away from Dheylo. Aegis used. Iceice is still in trouble, needs his hammer soon to get away, and does just that, but Dheylo has to give up thanks to the minions. The rest of the Papis, though, are still sieging down the left-hand side, and they're onto the Phoenix.
I'm kind of surprised that Dheylo let that one go. I think he could have probably risked the chase there to take out and pick up iceicebaby, but forcing out his Actus is just as strong, and now that they've secured that left side Phoenix, it's going to make it all too easy for Papis to continuously just reset and continue aggressing.
Need to be a little bit careful here, though, Papis. They've got a bit of a regeneration to do, especially on likes of Dracomarino. When your front line's low, it's always risky to keep on engaging sometimes, and I think that's why the Papis going to head back to base nice and quick. Gold Fury up in 40 seconds time. They could look to do that and then start sieging the next Fire Giant potentially, or would you still got enough time on the Fire Giant, would you go mid instead?
I don't think that they need to really they don't need to overpressure right now. They can play it safe and have everything work out, because allowing Rival to come to them is what's given them this lead.
I'm playing safe. You'd say Gold Fury is the safe call?
Yeah.
Or is it the Phoenix?
No, I would say go for the Gold Fury if you can find a pick around the Gold Fury pit, although Rival really shouldn't be contesting Papis on that Gold Fury.
That's true. True indeed. Ojo's going to get a bit more farm, now level 20, alongside 4 of his teammates, and you can only see across the way Rival only have 1 right now, which is Vote, who is top of the player damage.
But just look at these score lines from the Papis, and you could tell just how well coordinated this team has been this game. You've got Draco with 9 assists overall, 0-0-9 on the Ganesh support out of 10 kills.
He's not that good though, because he's not got a kill yet.
That's okay.
What?
You just, that's like the rat with no boots thing.
I'm just going to make it a thing. Rat no boots. Oh no, Ganesha no kills. Herp derp. That's what I know Twitch chat's going to do that, so we might as well start it early, right?
So get it in before they do.
Get it in before they do. Just be like, oh no, Ganesha no kills. Oh, what about Ganesha?
Oh man.
Tier 2 tower falls down. Look at Rival though. They did the Gold Fury as Papis went for Tier 2 and should get this Phoenix before Rival are even there to defend.
And leaving for the Gold Fury makes that open, but now it's going to be Callus getting aggressed on yet again. Creed is going to run him down with Dheylo, picking up Callus, but they did lose Warchi. Papis need to disengage.
Is the first mistake I've seen Papis make this game. They overextended it as only 4 men against 5 because Ojoboom wasn't even with them at that point in time. And now the Papis have to turn tail and run. Luckily, though, the Fire Giant isn't up for another minute, which means we will see Warchi back on the map in time to defend. But Rival have a chance to do the Portal Demon here for free, which gives them Fire Giant control.
I wouldn't say for free. I think that Ojoboom has enough to contest against this squad.
He's got his ult, you're right.
Dheylo and Draco are hovering around as well. They don't want to let this go for free.
And everybody's going to hang here from Papis too. But one by one, they'll have to trip back to base. At least Draco will and Dheylo, as they are a little bit lower in health than they would like to be. Deathwalker on the left-hand side, dealing with the fire minions as Draco still hanging around this Portal Demon.
I really like how Creed is kind of just harassing the members of Rival, really not wanting to permit them to come into this Fire Giant pit for free.
Yeah, we'll see what they can do now as the Portal Demon still leashed. Creed happy to tank it up with the Mystical Mail as the turret just continues to wail away. Ojoboom holding abilities here until it gets low. You can see that. But they're going to commit to Wlfy. The Dharmic Pillar's down from Draco. And in goes Creed again to follow up. And there's the ult from Ojoboom! Wlfy is down. iceicebaby on the run. Creed giving chase. Meatball Mariana from Ojo too. And iceice is still alive, but Vote is getting trickly low thanks to the Mystical Mail.
Why is Creed still alive, just wailing into everybody on Rival? He's just pressing W at them, no problem.
W and just holding left click, and he's coming up big. Papis end up winning a fight that wasn't necessarily in their favor at the start. They get the Portal Demon with Warchi back. They're starting the Fire Giant.
And I loved how long Ojoboom held his ultimate. As soon as he started moving towards that little tunnel alleyway between the speed buff and the blue buff, you could tell he wanted to launch that ultimate. He waited for the ult secure from Creed to ensure that Wlfy wasn't going anywhere.
And now Warchi at 5 stacks of that rage. We'll head back to base, get a couple more wards for him and his crew, using the pole to come back. And there's only one Phoenix really for them to look at, the mid lane. The left one is respawning. Would you look to push that in first of all, Taco, or would you let the minions try and do that while you focus mid?
You want to push up the minion wave at least in that left-hand side, because they're still going to have fire creep waves remaining. And so if Rival are having to worry about the fire creeps pouring into that left-hand Phoenix, it leaves them pretty open on their mid lane.
Well, Creed's the furthest forward right now, heading around to this left-hand side. Couple of defenders there for Rival as it stands. They'll be looking to defend this, but they won't defend this as hard as they will the mid lane.
No, because mid lane is actually a full health Phoenix. It's a lot more difficult to contest a Phoenix that you've already lost all your health on.
Definitely a couple of good situations now for the Papis to be in, continuing to pressure on. A couple of Spirit Robes coming through, as you can see, on multiple members now of the Papis, just denying those taunts even more, which is the only real setup they've got. Over than iceicebaby, who's going to the sky right now, looking to initiate. Warchi gets hit early on, but the bad news is he had beads and rolled away. Baby's still committing, but they collapse onto iceicebaby straight away. Snipes coming out from Warchi too to clean him up, but the Papis doing so far so good, with Wlfy already being dead.
And the peel by the Papis just to ensure that Warchi stays alive. That's all that they needed. Callus is in the wrong spot, wrong time, and now the rest of the Papis are collapsing onto him. Creed's going to be able to pick up the kill. 4 members strong still for the Papis.
This could be game. Look at how low the Titan is right now with Deathwalker falling down. Vote can't defend against the rest of the Papis. 4 members strong, still alive. They're going to take game 1, 16-4.
And I know that a lot of people back at home probably weren't anticipating this. People like to just spam Papis, but I mean, realistically speaking, they are looking like a formidable team in the
Let's be
SPL
honest.
right now.
Let's be honest. Rival came into this split. People were saying they could be a top 4 team. Now they've shown they could do it at LAN. They just got to show it online. And so far this season, it kind of looked that way. Papis finally win against Elevate. And now they found again against Rival, but then they've still got another game against Rival. This could be 2-0 Papis.
It's very solid. It's just refreshing watching a team like the Papis really start to find their groove, and I love it. And although it might be a little bit too late into this split in particular, it just makes me really excited to see what else they can do.
Wow.